And now our final keynote speaker. Kimberly Bryant is a talented and successful electrical engineer who's worked extensively in the biotech industry. In 2011, she founded Black Girls Code, a training course that teaches basic programming concepts to black girls who are underrepresented in technology careers. After founding Black Girls Code, Bryant has been listed as one of the 25 most influential African Americans in technology. Today, she's here at Acquia Engage to share remarkable stories and some very powerful ideas.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Kimberly Bryant, and I'm the founder and CEO of the nonprofit organization called Black Girls Code. Despite the current challenges of the global pandemic, I see people every day rising each and every day to connect, to learn, to serve. Even while we are all quarantining and maintaining our social distances, connecting with others has never been more important. And if there ever was a better time to prioritize learning and growth, then this is it. The organization I founded, Black Girls Code, was born for the purpose of creating a more equitable digital landscape. You could say our organization is a digital native even. So in many ways, I think it's a bit ironic that even we as an organization are forced to rely on tech now more than ever to do our work. As a CEO, it's my job to help my team to thrive even in the face of sometimes unimaginable odds. With that being said, as a leader, I'm learning a lot about myself, about how I lead, about how to really drive change and innovation through uncertainty. And I wanted to take a little bit of time today to share some examples with you of what myself, Black Girls Code, and other organizations have done to turn what we may call right now a crisis into opportunity. I'd like to begin by sharing a little bit of the BGC story, including the changes that we made in response to the COVID-19 pandemic back in the middle of March. Black Girls Code, the organization, was founded right here where I am now in the Bay Area in 2011. We are a nonprofit organization with over 15 chapters across the U.S. and one international chapter in Johannesburg, South Africa. We run workshops and events throughout the year that are managed by what we like to call an army of volunteers who are distributed across the world, and we have staff that operates in two offices. One, this one here that I'm in today in Oakland, California, and one in New York City. During the first week of March, it became evident and abundantly clear to us that we needed a new plan for 2020. We knew that with the increasing demands and the increasing, I would say, unrest with this global pandemic, we wouldn't be able to keep doing business as normal. BGC will turn 10 years old next year. Over the past 9 years, we've reached over 30,000 students in these chapters, which are distributed across the world. And we've done we've done all of that work previously via in-person workshops and events that are held from January through December in classrooms that are filled literally with upwards of 100 students plus 50 or 30 more volunteers each weekend. Gathering girls from underrepresented communities together to learn these principles of computer science has been the cornerstone of our work. I want to shed a little bit of light on why this work is so very important. Black women as a whole represent less than 3% of graduates earning bachelor's degrees in computer science. Black women represent less than 2% of the workforce in most tech and tech-enabled companies. And as early stage entrepreneurs within the tech industry, Black women receive less than 0.2% of all early stage venture capital funding. These stark realities are a major element of the BGC work, why we do what we do in creating these safe spaces, if you will, that are dominated by young Black women who are mastering STEM principles together. We really strive to expose them to tech leaders who look like them and have similar backgrounds and life experiences, and who can provide them not only with the skill sets that they need for the future, but give them a new perspective of what they can and should see themselves as the future leaders and innovators of tomorrow. As educators, our primary and first priority at BGC is always the health and safety of our communities. If nothing else, 2020 has reminded us just how critical that core commitment is. I must admit, as a CEO, initially, like many others, I was optimistic about what this new normal would be. And yet by the end of this summer, it was quite clear to us that the new normal, or life as normal as we knew it before, was never going to come back. My team and I accepted that reality. And we needed to figure out how we would still be supportive of our communities. We realize now that life as we used to know it, post, or what I would say even pre-COVID, is going to lead us into a very new world. And if we are to survive as an organization and even to thrive, we needed to find a new reality, one that would allow us to still meet the needs of our community and drive the changes we wanted to see in the world. Facing this new reality, we needed to go virtual with everything that we would normally do in a classroom. And not only just virtual for now, we realized we have to possibly go virtual for the foreseeable future. I'm very lucky as a CEO that I have an incredible team. They're full of talented individuals that come from all walks of life. And they really jump in head first because they're committed to the mission of this work to create a more diverse and a more equitable tech industry. But we had to start at the beginning. So we began our transition by first codifying the ways that we would stay connected and engaged with each other as a team. Our in-person workshops, we knew, were not coming back anytime soon. So the BGC team took a step back and we reassessed what we knew well. Teaching girls tech skills and providing enrichment opportunities to support their self-confidence and self-awareness. We were blessed in this endeavor with some very, I would say, ambitious and supportive partners who were savvy with tech tools, and they were willing to jump in and help us develop curriculum, create panels, and share their resources and knowledge with us. And so we, with our partners, dived in headfirst and launched our very first virtual series called Tech Me at the end of April. And over the course of just a few days, we ended up with over 2,000 registrants for one virtual coding class. Since that first session in April, our virtual offerings have continued to grow in both frequency and variety. We've taught hundreds of virtual students how to build games, websites. We've collaborated with partners such as Microsoft, Tinkercad to teach coding, to being able to bring virtual panels of STEM professionals from all over the country to chat about their journeys in tech, giving the students a behind-the-scenes look at how innovative new companies and change makers use technology to create and innovate. We even utilized our technology platforms to create healing spaces for our community to find both rest and comfort in the offerings from poets, from wellness practitioners, and from healers. Now, this is just a small sampling of the type of experiences our team has delivered over the past 7 months. I remain amazed at how the list of opportunities to provide these opportunities to expose our young students to STEM and computer science continues to both grow and expand. It's really extremely exciting. If there is just one lesson that I've learned throughout the last 7 to 8 months, it is that this next industrial revolution, access and exposure to technology will be a lifeline and a prerequisite for not only our success, but for our business's literal survival. We now have a chance to both widen our net and broaden our reach, to reach girls and boys and even more communities that we may not have reached with our in-person workshops. This new virtual reality, if you will, it allows and even forces us to expand our vision, to expand our reach, to expand our impact globally, and to create even greater connectedness within our communities. For the first time in 10 years as a CEO and founder, I had the ability to actually dream a vision bigger than the one we started with a decade ago. Now I'm extremely confident in our ability to both adapt and to thrive, to both widen and deepen our impact in this new world that awaits us. And for the very first time, we have this unyielding capacity to dream, to truly make an impact. 20 years ago, I would have never guessed that I would found a nonprofit organization like BGC with chapters all around the world. Starting a nonprofit, I must tell you, is hard. But starting a nonprofit to literally change the face of a major industry that had only just begun to think about the diversity problem when we started, it's even more so. Because although we lived right here in the heart of Silicon Valley, we were surrounded by a thriving tech industry. There were very few opportunities for my daughter Kai to learn these skills for the future in an environment and community with other girls like herself. I knew that if I wanted my daughter to truly find her tribe, I was going to have to clear a pathway and a bit to kind of support this journey. And that's what I did when I created Black Girls Code. After nearly a decade of operation, we've now learned a lot about what works for our students and how to stay relevant as the pace of technology and change consistently increases. For us, it starts with cultural efficacy and a culturally relevant criteria in all of our programs, where we are able to prioritize the development of a confident mindset as our students consistently learn new skills and are exposed to new opportunities to try different technologies. We integrate these cultural practices into the heart of every programmatic design decision. BGC's program team uses technology projects not only for their pedagogical value, but frequently those projects focus on how the students experience life and express themselves culturally. And we help them solve challenges that they see in their very own communities each and every day. The learning point that I really want to drive home here is that sometimes it takes a crisis to force you to step outside of your comfort zone, to look at your world and the work that you do through a different lens, hopefully via a diverse set of team members, if you will, that can help you push a little bit through the biases that we bring to the work individually. When you do that, though, that is where the magic truly happens. That is when you can actually find opportunity in crisis. For BGC, this experience has made us stronger as an organization. I know that we can take these experiences of transitioning to a virtual platform to learn how to reach our students and deliver the experience of Black Girls Code, which really builds confidence in ways in which we never imagined before. As we have transitioned from this primarily in-person model to one which relies on virtual environments, we have really tried to figure out how do we change and translate how we do work in a classroom in a way that continues to hold dear what makes a BGC environment so unique. We've learned that we can't just jump into the lesson plans with our virtual learners. We have to stop We have to take a pause and give them space to connect and make connections over the virtual platform. We had to embed the human element even more into our method of teaching. Sometimes the connections are as basic as ensuring everyone showed up with their cameras turned on. In essence, we had to show the kids, and the kids had to see each other. In essence, at BGC, we're in this process of re envisioning what our programs and what our program model and our program delivery will be. Yes, we have to get the tech right, that's important. But we also have to be conscious of making sure the community element and connection is still very much a centermost part of our work. We can't lose the BGC magic of that cultural connectedness that makes our work strong and so very impactful. This is how BGC as an organization has focused on adapting through crisis and adapting through change. We want our kids to have all the fixings, including the career and the life skills that they need to survive and even to thrive in this new digitally connected world. How can we all, here in our work at BGC, but even yourselves in your work, how can you pivot in this time of crisis to greater serve communities and also to advance your organization's mission? Luckily, Black Girls Code is not forced with a call to defer our work. In fact, we believe that this COVID-19 pandemic highlighted even greater ways the needs of Black and Brown communities, which reinforces our purpose to diversify the tech industry and to create tech leadership ranks that our future is defined by a technology sector in which everyone has an equitable place at the table. When I think of the teams and the leaders who are most successful at leading through crisis, chaos, and uncertainty, I'm reminded that we cannot get the kind of solutions that we need unless we have diverse teams and diverse thinking. For me and for BGC, this has been thinking very closely about how we engage our teams to be their best selves. How do we create space so everyone can show up to the table? For this challenging time, we need all minds and all hands. With this in mind, I've also discovered that the digital transformation and digital divide, who has access to technology, is still very much an unlevel playing field that could prevent us from reaching communities who could benefit most from our work. As a result, our commitment as BGC is to speak about policies or the lack of policies in the corporate sector and also governments that create unequal access to technology and education. We built a movement to confront this global tech industry's urgent need for global diversity and inclusion. I'm more committed now than ever to teaching 1 million girls to code by 2040. To reach our goals, I'm asking all of our movement and community to step up even more, to use your voices to drive and create change in your communities when you see a need. I need you all to use your knowledge, your savvy, your access as decision makers to say that we need to invest in every community, because a digital transformation that isn't accessible to everyone may not be a digital transformation at all. It may simply reproduce or even worsen historical divides. I hope that the stories and thoughts I've shared with you today inspire you to look for and create hope and clear-headed thinking that we need now to drive change. I hope you come away curious about how you can ask of each challenge, is there an opportunity hiding in here? The answer may not always be yes, but if you keep looking, if you keep refreshing the way you look at the world and stay curious, take the long-term view while solving the problem of the day, I am confident that you will find something in the changes you make now just to survive personally and in your professional lives might be just the transformation you need to thrive once we return to whatever normal may look like after this time. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I really thank you so much for your ongoing support.